able to send us referrals. So please keep in mind those three things. So any of the things that we talk about today can be used in any of those areas. Excuse me. 3 times we should be talking to our customers. All the time, all the time, and all the time. Okay. When business is slow, of course. When business is good, yeah, right? Like one of the things I'm talking to my agents about right now is, who would have figured the market would look this way right now after being quarantined and having a global pandemic? But we're all fat and happy, aren't we? Most of us. The market's been booming. You got to save up for a rainy day, and you have to have a strategy, because eventually what comes up has to come down. And we're already seeing the traffic here in Rhode Island slow down a bit. So, don't wait for a rainy day to be working on bringing in new business and creating new relationships. It's important all of the time, not just when you're getting desperate for new business. Please mute yourself if you're not speaking. One of the things that I started doing, which has been very, very successful for me, and this is both out there in the business community with local shop owners, as well as with my pool of agent connections and buyers and sellers, I randomly write love letters. Just randomly, once a week I sit down and I think of, what are the things that I did this week or this month that really had an impact on me or made me feel great or appreciated or special. And maybe it was an experience I had with my kids that week, right? So the love letter that I'm writing right now is last weekend we got this special experience and my kids and I got to take our picture with a 1,400-pound pumpkin. Now my kids are 15 and 13. So any of you parents out there who understand the mentality of a 15-year-old, you get that, like, this is my last shot at getting a pumpkin picture, right? It was an 18-year-old kid that drove us out there on a little buggy, and he was my photographer and he did an awesome job. And, thinking back when I was 18, I don't know that I would have been that cool about it, but he, having a good time with us and made sure that we really enjoyed ourselves. So he's getting a love letter and it gets copied to his boss. I know he told us that he'd only worked there for 2 months, and he maybe experienced a really great one. So love letters are a super good way to stand out from the crowd. And here's the deal. Normally we'd be in New Orleans right now, right? You board the plane to fly home, your luggage gets lost. You better believe you're going to find the time to write hate mail anytime that you're upset with something. Not many of us take the time to write about a good experience that we've had. So it's much more memorable. And guess what? It's free. For free is for me. That's what my 13-year-old says. We're constantly spreading our brand. Every time we talk to someone, every time we post something, any form of any interaction that we have in the public, right? Someone's bagging our groceries, someone is behind us in the checkout line. It is all branding us. So pay special attention on, how you're representing yourself out there right now online, and make sure that you're reflecting what you want to be remembered for. Okay. If any of you have studied the DISC, I want to talk about this for 30 seconds. This particular DISC is the profiling of how different personalities behave during the quarantine. But when we talk about how to make connections in terms of our activities and our mailings and our conversations, it's really important. Like, my strategy encompasses all 4 of the personalities, all demographics. And I really have a strategy on this because, some people are really going to connect with snail mail. Some people are only going to connect with text messaging. Some people, never want to hear from you at all unless it's an email. We have to cast a wide net, and the goal is to appeal to as many people as possible. Okay. Here's exactly what I was talking about. There's going to come a time when only those that know how to plant will be eating. We have to be planting seeds on a daily basis for our business. Okay. Take a look at this. You meet someone new. If this is your biggest takeaway today, I'm totally fine with that. You meet someone new. The follow-up is atrocious. The follow-up is where the guts are. That's where the magic is, right? So the follow-up for us is going to be the most important part. The goal is you meet someone new, you make it memorable. Sometimes you're in that elevator, right? You're in New Orleans, you get in the elevator, you have 30 seconds. You see a WCR badge, I'm sorry, Women's Council of Realtors badge, get into the elevator with you. You have 30 seconds to make an impression and be memorable so that person remembers you the next time. Or if they have a client moving to your area, they remember you. Follow-up is huge. We're going to talk more about that later. Personal branding. Bobby Nelson, for any of you who had the pleasure of working with Bobby Nelson, she's a past national president for Women's Council. She was one of my mentors, and she always said to me, Shannon, no matter what you do, make sure you have fun doing it. And so this was last year's Halloween costume. It's branded for my company. Here's my friend Dale, who was state president of Washington last year. And this just made me laugh. You know, I don't like corny stuff at all. You know, the hokey stuff, like I can't stomach it. This one made me laugh hysterically. So, you know, just be mindful of what you're putting out. Again, this was me the other day, talking about real estate without talking about real estate. You know, these are my 3 brands that I work for, and you know, just some ideas. Strategy is super important. So this one is specifically talking about buyers and sellers. I loved this. I've been hanging on to this idea for years since I saw it online. This guy, this is his farm area. Him and his wife and his 2 kids fill up a truck and a cart filled with pumpkins. And each year they go door to door and they drop off pumpkins and they host a pumpkin decorating contest. If you can see the tag, which you'll have access to my slides later, it's very strategic. It's carve your pumpkin, like us on Facebook, post the picture of your pumpkin on our page, and you know, get your friends to like us too. He's also supporting a local farm, you know, building a relationship there with local businesses, and he's having a great time. It's super memorable. Imagine the ocular credits of this truck and this big, huge cart of pumpkins driving through your neighborhood. I mean, literally the kids are running around, jumping up and down. So I love this kind of stuff. Here's another one. This is something I did for my farm, which is my own neighborhood. I had, excuse me, reusable Halloween bags branded with my logo. I have 175 single family homes in my farm, lots and lots and lots of children. So my logo was walking around my whole neighborhood all of Halloween night. They're reusable as well. So every so often I see them at the grocery store. This is something that I did a couple years back for my top 10. Now I have a top 10, which is sort of my own personal board of directors. These are my biggest cheerleaders. Sometimes they're other realtors, sometimes they are past clients, sometimes they are friends and family from my sphere. But these are the people in my life, the 10 people in my life who wake up every day and try to send me business. I treat my top 10 a little more special than I treat the rest of my database, if you will, because they're out there really trying to work for me every day. Okay, fall home maintenance. So these are some seasonal things that you could be thinking about right now. For us, I'm in Rhode Island. It's actually, we have had a snowstorm here since about 8 o'clock this morning, which is really kind of wild for us this time of year. We don't typically get snow until December. So everybody today who would normally not be turning on their heat is turning on their heat, right? At least a month early. So for us, you don't think typically to service your heating system until it's the first day that you go to turn on your heat. For us, we send these out in August, and in August, that's our excuse for calling our people to say, hey, I know it's August, you probably think I'm nuts, but if you try to call and get an annual cleaning on your furnace in November, they're going to tell you we'll see you in February, right? So call now, you'll have it all set, ready to go in time for November. It's, you know, a lot of what we do is centered around the home and making sure it's valuable information. This is one of my favorites of all time. This is a great farm idea. It's a little tricky right now with COVID, but you know, we can't put things in mailboxes because it's a federal law. But someone needs to mute their camera. Thank you. Plastic bag, dollar store for 50 cents. You can put a package of batteries in with a reminder that this Sunday is the change of time. So reminding them that when the clocks change, replace the batteries in your smoke alarms, right? 3 out of 5 house fires are caused because of deaths are caused because of faulty detectors. So another item of value. And the ocular credits are pretty cool too. This is one that I love for the end of the year. Now, ask yourself, how many Thanksgiving cards have you received in your lifetime? I've received 2. And I can tell you at any point in my life who those people are because I've only received 2. So it stands out and it's memorable. This is another thing. I celebrate Christmas. At Christmas time, you know, the month of December, I probably get 10 Christmas cards a day. I start to forget who sent them to me. Don't tell my friends and family. So instead, I do a New Year's card, and it's a year in review for my business. You know, like my grandmother used to do a Christmas letter, and it would have like a picture of the family and like what we did that year. I do that, but I do it for my business. You can get templates for really inexpensive on Etsy.com, or you can, you know, have custom ones made at sites like Minted. So totally up to you. But here's idea because everyone celebrates it. Oops, excuse me. This is something I started doing last month, actually. This was one of my classmates from NARLA, who is in California. So we are on opposite coasts. And I can't see them, but I'd normally be seeing all these people this time of year. So I'm just taking a picture with his picture and texting it to him saying, hey, I miss you a ton, right? It's easy, it's really quick, it's memorable, and it always gets a response, right? And it's free too, by the way. Here's one that was sent my way that I just love. It made my day because it was different. I wasn't expecting it. And it was a nice gesture. This is one of my NARLA students this year from Texas who, you know, I woke up in the morning and I had a notification on my phone. Jeff Kahn sent you $5. And I had a little note in my Venmo that said, treat yourself to a party cup of coffee because you rock. You know, you can do this with any one of your clients. Like imagine on National Coffee Day, you know, you randomly send them a cup of coffee. Coffee is on me today. Go enjoy. You know, just think outside the box a little bit. With this whole virtual thing, you know, life is different. So speaking of, I'm sending short videos, and I got that idea from same friend, Jeff, who once a week, he sends me this super short video. And sometimes he's driving on his way somewhere. I'm sure that he's, you know, not holding his phone. Sometimes he's in the hallway in between classes or appointments and, you know, but it's a, hey, you know, it's Friday. Tell me something good. I, you know, just wanted to check in with you, see how your week went, let you know I was thinking about you. That's it. Quick snippet. I'm doing this with clients right now. Hey, you know, I just drove by your house. I didn't see the cars were there, or I didn't, you know, I was on my way to an appointment. but I saw that you decorated for Halloween. It looks awesome. The kids did a great job with the jack-o'-lanterns. I just wanted to let you know. Rather than just send a plain text message. The video, I know it's a little scary, but the more you do it, the easier it gets. And, you know, again, really simple, really memorable, and, you know, people get a chuckle out of it. This is Sylvia Siebold, who I think some of you may know. Please mute your accounts if you're not speaking. She does phone roulette. So if she has some spare time, she'll go through her phone and she'll get to her contacts and spin. And whoever it lands on, she randomly calls them and says, "Hey, I'm calling to see how you are." She landed on me one day and I laughed, and I've been using it ever since. I think it's awesome. Coffee dates. You know, we're doing this via Zoom these days. I used to mail these to my clients, you know, and just sort of randomly, like once a year, I'd have a coffee date with them. I'm not asking them to talk about real estate. I'm just catching up with them so I know what's going on with them. You know, almost 90% of consumers said that they would hire their realtor again if they knew where to find them, you guys. So you can't just make the connection. You have to work on maintaining that relationship. Parking lot dates. My friend Katie on Cape Cod, she is a Women's Council member at large. How smart is she? The only member on Cape Cod. Guess who gets all those referrals, right? We just love her, and she's super spunky, and you've probably seen her speak at Inman. But she doesn't take no for an answer. So when everyone went into quarantine, she was like, I got to find ways. I'm an extrovert and I got to find ways. So she had parking lot dates. And she was inviting vendors and business owners, treating it almost like a BNI. And she was scheduling appointments. I love it. All right. Someone please do this, because if this showed up at my house, I would just have the best time with it. Christmas in a can. Hawaii, this is an agent in Hawaii. You know, I love funny holidays, meaning going back to the Christmas card thing. You know, I try to choose holidays to send snail mail that are not the usual. So Chinese New Year, I can tell you right now, this is a pop out card, like a 3D card. This is the only Chinese New Year anything that anyone has ever sent to me. He also sent me 3D glasses for the eclipse, which I thought was super cool. If you guys remember, those are very hard to come by. I sent out conference call bingo, again, for my clients who are working from home during this time. They kind of got a kick out of it. All right, if you believe business is built on relationships, then make building relationships your business, okay? Going back to agent referrals, this is something that my company does now. Each month we put out an image, just sort of letting the public know that, you know, if they're moving somewhere else in the world, we can still help them. And this has really, this campaign, and that's what it is, it's a campaign. So it's something that I talk about all the time, that, you know, this is a piece of my business. If you're moving somewhere that's not Rhode Island, I am your resource. I know a realtor in every major city across the country and in countries beyond the United States. It has probably tripled my referral business since I started talking about it like this. But steal the idea, steal the wording if you want, but talk about it, right? A lot of times we don't make that part of our business plan, and it's a really great source of income for us. My PowerPoint's really annoying today, I'm sorry. Here's another version of it. I'll tell you, I just sent a referral down to Florida and it closed with a Women's Council member actually. And it was more than my last 3 closing checks. So it can be a really awesome, I call it mailbox money, you know, and it's just awesome. It's really fun when it shows up. The handwritten notes. I have a stack of handwritten notes. Like I sound like I have an illness, but I get lit up inside every time a Hallmark envelope shows up in my mailbox, right? And you all do the same thing. Like you get home from work at the end of the day and there's a stack of mail and it's mostly bills, but you see that lime green envelope with the gold sticker on it, you go straight to the envelope, right? Because you want to know like who sent me that. It must be from one of my friends or my family. Um, it's always going to get opened. And when it's not expected, it really means a lot. I'm going to give you an example here. In the middle of this madness we call 2020, one of our Women's Council members um, randomly sent me a card, and this was it. It's still on the shelf in front of my desk. Lindsay Culver from Portland, Oregon. I'm sure most of you know her. Just dropping you a love bomb note. I was like, yeah, that's perfect. She's not asking me for anything. She was just letting me know she was thinking about me. I will never forget this note. Right? I put this in here to remind me to talk to you. It's really important, like this time of year, especially, we're getting ready to do business planning. You should have some sort of campaign outlined for your sphere, for your agent to agent referrals. What does that look like? How much is it going to cost? Like I build a budget. I literally put the activities in my Google Calendar to remind me, like today, it's Shannon, order your Thanksgiving cards. So then like I'm not scrambling 3 days before Thanksgiving, like, oh my God, I forgot to order the cards. And now what am I going to do? Well, we know the answer, right? They don't get sent. And then we end up, like most of us, there's no campaign. So, be thinking about that when you're doing your business planning. But it's really important that we be professional, but we be unique, right? Use a little creativity. Like I'm a little bit, I'm not posting on my social media like the sold writers anymore. I'm doing doormats because I want to be a little bit different. Like I want everybody's posting that same picture, right? Now when I scroll my feed, I almost don't remember who's doing what because they all look the same to me. So be thinking about some things that you can maybe do. This is my reminder to talk to you about that. Becky Karp from Oklahoma does moving boxes. This was her client posting about her boxes. This wasn't Becky saying, oh, look at me, look at me. This was her client saying like, my agent's awesome. Right? And that's what we want. We're trying to create raving fans. Sorry, I'm going to skip ahead for a second because it's driving me crazy. Sam Powell's on the call today. I saw her fabulous face, and I use her as an example often. I love Sam's branding. She uses self-promotion everywhere she goes, but she works out of coffee shops a lot or in restaurants and public places. Okay. So she's got, ask me about real estate on her laptop. So even if she's not scheduled to meet people, she's out there trying to meet people, right? So be thinking about how can I drum up conversation? I wonder, Sam, if you can unmute yourself, if you're still on here, tell us how many people approach you on this. Because I had one of my agents in Connecticut do it, and she works out of a coffee shop because she's brand new to the industry. She's brand new to Connecticut. And she's like, I need to meet people. And I said, oh my God, my friend Sam does this. You have to do it. And she meets people all the time. She's on her third transaction right now, brand new to the state and brand new to the industry. Not too shabby during a global pandemic. So does the decal do it? I don't know, but I'll give anything a shot, that will get me an at bat. Little, again, quirky little things that are memorable. Think about your closing gifts if you do closing gifts. I have some signature gifts that I do. This is something that I'm considering for the holidays. because it's just a talking point, right? You want your closing gifts or any money that you spend out there in your, mailings, in your whatever you're doing, make sure it has a shelf life, right? If you give a gift card, it's one and done. They open it, they go thank you, they buy some paint cans, and then it never gets talked about ever again, right? You buy a, custom cutting board, you buy one of these, you buy a birdhouse by the front door, or a doormat that's custom, someone eventually is going to comment on it. And guess what they say? Oh, my real estate agent got that for me, right? Think about the shelf life of what you're doing, especially when you're spending dollars, to make sure that it goes a long way. And you're creating conversations while you're not in the room, right? That's the dream. Again, here's another one. Some of our agents during the quarantine, when we had a closing, we had a custom puzzle made of the clients with the sold sign or of just the new house. So they were stuck at home, and they'd get, a puzzle made out of their new house. And they got a lot of kicks out of it. It gave them something to do. And it's something they're probably never going to throw away. It's really inexpensive. Same thing with address labels. If you want to create raving fans, some of this stuff you can even have co-branded to yourself. For me, like a lot of times, depending on the buyer, but a lot of times I host housewarming parties for my buyers. So I get FaceTime with their contacts and I'm trying to meet new people, and I do something really fun for my home buyers. So again, out of the box. So going back to Miss Bobby, you have to have fun in everything you do. It's so important. Like if it's not fun, I don't want to do it. I don't know about you guys, but I'm just over it. I'm 16 years in the business. If you don't make me laugh, I got to move on to the next thing. This was a 5 a.m. flight. I was stuck on the tarmac, and you got to love Southwest Airlines. I mean, I just love them. Everyone was super cranky. It was early in the morning. We're on this tiny plane and we're stuck there. And I think we're on there for 2 hours. And the stewardess got off the plane without telling anyone and made a snowman and put it on a platter and started walking up and down the aisles with it, because it was like our first snow. And you'll see how small the snowman is because we got like no snow last year. So she must have been scraping it off the ground. But just having a really fun attitude, you got to people are attracted to a good attitude, especially right now. This was this morning. This is an attorney's office that's local to me. And, they get a lot of eyeballs on their social media, but they had a costume contest. And everyone inside the office dressed up today. And I thought, wow, I would never have expected that, because they wear suits and ties to the office every day. If you were to meet them and you didn't know them, you would be like, oh my God, they might even be a little uptight. They're actually the most fun people out there. So just showing your personality a bit really makes a big difference. Getting out of your comfort zone. This was me this year with video. I was terrified of video. I somehow was able to skirt that my entire career, and then COVID happened. And I did not have a choice. I interviewed on a daily basis this year. I just didn't have a choice. And it probably took me a couple days. And then I was like, oh my God, video is awesome. Everyone should be doing this. Everything I send out is video now. So you got to rip the Band-Aid. You got to go for it. Just get out of your comfort zone. Put it on your business plan to try something new this year. When I talk about strategy, this is one of the biggest things that made a difference in my bottom line, really. I have a lot of friends who talk about me when they're out at cocktail parties, or they're at, their kids' school, or real estate comes up all the time, right? Everyone loves to talk about real estate. So I'd see my friends from, college, whatever, and they'd be like, oh, I was talking about you the other night. I was at a cocktail party and someone said they might be buying a house soon. I told them they had to call you. And I was like, oh, thank you so much. And then, I'm like thinking and thinking, and I'm like, but the business didn't come. It's because I didn't train them how to send it to me so that that lead wouldn't go anywhere else. Now, what my people say is, hey, you should, you should talk to my friend Shannon. She's a realtor. She's really great. She sold us our house, their house, whatever. Would it be okay if I had her call you tomorrow? Right? Because let's face it, most cocktail parties, like, I don't know where you guys went to college, but my college friends, after the third glass of wine, my business card is a coaster, right? At best. They definitely don't remember my name. And they're probably not going to go through the effort of trying to find me, right? They're just going to walk into the next open house and do what they need to do. That's the reality of it. So really coaching your top 10, your cheerleaders, even the top 25 people in your life that are likely to send you business will make a huge impact on the amount of leads that actually come to you. I bet there's a lot for all of us that, a lot of conversations where we get mentioned, but that lead never even makes its way to us and we don't really know about it. Customizing thank yous. The reason why I put this in here is because anytime you receive a referral, and I don't care if it's from another agent or a past client or your mom, okay, whoever is sending you a referral, it's critical that you acknowledge and thank the referral, okay, not just the closing. Because when someone sends us a referral, they have done the job that we have asked them to do, right? We are asking them for the at bat. It's our job to knock it out of the park. Okay. So if we don't acknowledge that they are trying to send us business, they're going to stop trying so hard. And I'm not saying you have to mail out gift cards, put a handwritten thank you note in the mail, pick up the phone, say thank you. It doesn't have to cost money, right? But I included this to just remind you that that is a super important piece. Appreciation goes a long way, and we have to acknowledge every time someone tries to send us a piece of business. If we only acknowledge the closings, the activity will be reduced. It's not who you know, it's who knows you, right? This is so true. Right now, most eyeballs are online. So it's really important that, what you put out there is a reflection of who you are. Remember that, I've seen this happen a lot with my personal Facebook lately. Just because they don't like your post doesn't mean they don't see them. I have a lot of people that have called me lately who I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe they called me. Like, I haven't talked to them in like 10 years. I thought they hated me because they never liked my stuff on Facebook, and they'll actually say, they'll call me and be like, oh my, I watch your stuff online all the time. It's so fun. And I love to see what you're doing. I'm not somebody who like comments though. So remember that you have this entire audience out there that may not be engaging, but they're watching. Right? And so keep planting the seeds, keep doing the right things, and keep trying to make that phone ring. This was a really fun online option. This was a Lego home building competition. I love it because it's house related. It engages the whole entire household, not just the mom and dad. And, it's just fun. And it's a strategic way of building your following online as well. Love this. This is a great time to be offering seminars and, any sort of partnerships with preferred vendors. But this one really, stood out to me, even though paint is generally kind of a boring topic. This agent partnered with her local Sherwin-Williams, right? And had them talk about, everyone's home in quarantine, which means everyone's doing home improvement projects. a lot of them are painting what are the popular colors right now. So if you're going to go out and, repaint the interior of your entire house, what color do you want to be thinking about? And it was like a 1 hour Zoom session. She got a ton of activity. And I thought, this is beautiful because it's totally different. I watched another one that was how to choose appliances. What are home buyers looking for right now? Right. So these are the kinds of things that are a little bit different as far as content, that might help you get a different audience if you promote it correctly. This was just a fun one. This is an agent. I feel like she lives in Ohio. She came right out and said in her promotion of this, I am a terrible cook, but I'm going to learn how to cook and I'm going to do it while you watch. And so every Sunday, she'd open her pantry cabinets and whatever was in there, whatever ingredients were there, she would just figure out something to make. And she just had a ton of laughs with her people. I love this as a self-promotion because he's talking about the market while self-promoting without being too much, right? So he's painting a picture of what's happening in the real estate world in Rhode Island. When I say the market is hot, that could mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. That's subjective. For us right now, if I tell someone it's busy, what I mean is that we are showing property every 15 minutes for 8 to 9 hour shifts for days at a time. We're receiving 20 to 30 offers on a property, and that's kind of the norm. So when I say it's busy, I'm trying to paint that picture. Okay, we're coming to an end so we can break out into some breakouts groups. But networking is about listening with the aim of advancing someone else's agenda, not your own. So networking, first of all, needs to be intentional, which I know Women's Council has talked about a lot. In fact, that's where I first heard the term intentional networking. It's the conversation shifting a little bit because normally we would be all together, walking into the ballroom at the conference welcome, the cocktail reception. What I see a lot is people walk in, they beeline it right to the people they know. I see it in the sessions too, and I'm guilty of it sometimes myself. Is, you walk into the room, there's round tables, and oh my gosh, I know so-and-so, I'll go sit there. So I have to remind myself to sit with different people, new faces, be introducing myself to people I don't have a relationship with yet, right? But the important thing is it needs to be reciprocal. And this is especially important, not in your agent to agent relationships, but in your relationships with your buyers and your sellers, or more importantly, your strategic partners, right? If you are receiving a lot of leads from your attorney, your lender, your financial advisor, your insurance agent, the people in your life that are first to know when there's a life change, you need to reciprocate and make an effort to send them business too, or eventually that relationship is going to dissolve. Okay. It's got to be a two-way street. Just think of it like this, like no one likes to feel like someone's just taking. So remember reciprocity. Write down the word reciprocity. Put down your phone. At the very beginning of this, I said to you, please turn on your cameras. I can't see a full screen because I'm sharing my presentation, but I can tell you that I have a strip of 6 blocks and I can only see 2 people. It's not fun. I live on Zoom. We have to use Zoom to its full potential in order to get out of it what we need. So if we have shifted our efforts to being virtual, right? And you hope to leave this conference with some new relationships, some new contacts, you really have to be present in order for that to happen. And it's more difficult in a virtual world. I'm not going to lie to you. It's more difficult. We have to be more strategic, and we really have to make an effort. Being present is one of those things. It really stinks when you're sitting at a table with someone and you're trying to spark up a conversation and they're on their cell phone the whole entire time, right? Because you leave that conference with no new stuff. You might get the content, but I am here to tell you, one of the best things that ever happened to me were the relationships in my volunteer life. So don't miss out. Put down your phone, be present as best you can. We're all human, we're all adults. I totally get stuff comes up, life is busy, all of that. But if you commit to doing something like this and you want the results, you got to be present. On that note, we're going to, Olivia, are you still on here? We're going to, with Olivia's help, we're going to break off into groups and do a little exercise. So how many do we have on?